In Walmart's Who Newville, joy started to grow. For online-only savings sure to steal the show. Tech treats and toys so dazzling and new. Walmart Cyber Monday deal soon ready for you. It's online only with very little time to spare. December 1st will soon be here, so be sure to be there. The Who's are prepared. Are you ready too? A day packed with savings. Amazing! Who knew? Subject to availability, terms and fees apply.
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing the protection of an offensive guard on the football field, but getting an elementary school crossing guard. Sure, they're both guards, but you can only trust one to keep your quarterback safe when the game is on the line. So don't settle for just any insurance when there's State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you. When I go out, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. If I get drunk.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sooner Nation podcast. Hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving weekend. I know Sooner Nation had to have had, right? Regardless of whether your turkey was fried, smoked, baked, burnt, Oklahoma gets the job done against LSU, and that saves Thanksgiving for everybody. And look, we're not arguing anymore. We are not arguing the fact is Oklahoma back. We know. What we're here to do is kind of explain how it happened, because what you saw Saturday night, not just a win for the Sooners, it wasn't just a close game. It definitely wasn't just surviving an opponent in the conference at home. What you saw was, I think you saw a program cross a line, a very real one, the kind that you don't cross with a score, not like a touchdown or something like that. It's the kind that you do with your posture, like what you're showing who you are with control. It's the way a team responds when everything starts going wrong. And let's be honest, if it could have gone wrong Saturday, it went wrong. Because before we talk about LSU, before we talk about the Sategna touchdown, before we talk about John Mateer and his interceptions, you got to go backwards a little bit. You got to talk about the pressure. You got to talk about the doubt. You got to talk about to the whispers that seemed to get louder as the year went on in 2024 and almost came back, almost reared its ugly head again on Saturday in Norman. For a year, for a full year, the pressure around Brent Venables has been, I'm going to use his word, relentless, right? And if you're not built for Oklahoma, you don't survive. You don't survive that. 6-7 in Norman doesn't just disappoint, it detonates. Because Oklahoma doesn't do rebuilds. Sooner Nation doesn't do patience, and we certainly don't accept excuses. What we have are standards, and you either live up to them or you start hearing about all the people that could replace you. And that's where Brent Venables spent pretty much the majority of the last 12 months. The man wasn't just criticized. He wasn't just evaluated. He was measured against the ghost, right? He was measured against the banners that hang in that stadium. He was measured against the expectations that don't really care how many freshmen you're playing or how thin your depth chart is. So when Oklahoma enters this game on Saturday, ranked number 8 in the playoff standings, yeah, they had won 3 straight. Yeah, they had been rolling through the month of November, but let's be honest. Nobody knew really if this was real, because the wins, they weren't pretty. A lot of Sooner Nation, go back and look, it's still there. A lot of Sooner Nation went away from that Missouri game going, I don't know, man. I don't know if we have the answer. Go back and look at the first half comments on the Facebook pages and so forth, social media like X, and look at what people are saying into the third quarter. I don't know, man. I don't know if this is it. I mean, we're 9-3. That's what we're looking at. Is that good enough? Oklahoma's offense has been living on the edge, and the defense has been carrying everything. And the Sooners had become a team that you believed in with like half of your brain and doubted with the other half. Then LSU shows up. Then things begin to change because this game, this was not about style. It was about control. Control of space, control of field position, control of moments. And I don't know if it was the first time all season, but for sure it was the loudest time this season. Oklahoma didn't just survive a big brand opponent. They commanded one. And when LSU walked into Norman, they walked into a defense that did not allow them to breathe. 198 total yards of offense for the Tigers, 2 of 14 on third down. That wasn't good defense. That was suffocation. That was dominance disguised as discomfort. This was one of those nights where the scoreboard lies to you, right? The scoreboard says 17-13, but it doesn't feel the way that game actually played out. LSU never had rhythm. They never had confidence. They absolutely never had leverage. In Oklahoma, Sooners didn't flinch. They didn't flinch when their offense tried to hand it away. They didn't flinch when they looked out of sync themselves. And let's talk about that because this is where this team really has changed. The first half, ugly. Again, go back. You can look at our Facebook page. You can look at anybody else's Twitter or X feed. You can go find Instagram. It was ugly and people were done. The Boo Birds were back out in Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. 3-3. You got the turnovers. You got short fields for LSU. And then, you got, John Mateer, 1, 2, 3 interceptions in the game. And at that point, in a normal season, against a team like LSU, that breaks you. In 2024, this team would have never overcome any of that. They would have been buried. It becomes the moment you talk about all offseason. It's your Jackson Arnold against Missouri moment. It's your Jackson Arnold against Tennessee moment. But that's not what happened Saturday. Not this time. Because Oklahoma hardened. They did not unravel. They didn't panic. They didn't start playing not to lose either. What they did was they responded. And LSU finally broke. Now, they did take the lead. They go up 10-3. And that's when you've really felt the anxiety. I mean, let's be honest. If you're watching on TV, if you're in that stadium, if you're listening on the radio, you were anxious. That game began to tilt. But instead of folding, what did Oklahoma do? The Sooners punched back. Deion Burks, 45 yards. Boom. Your game's tied. Stadium once again is alive right before the beginning of the fourth quarter. And suddenly in the final 15 minutes, you begin to see a shift. Yeah, LSU, they get a field goal, 13-10. And then there was still some of that anxiety, like, here we go again type moments. And then what happens? John Mateer, Isaiah Sategna, 4 minutes left. Season is breathing its last breath. It feels like confidence is fragile. And then Mateer launches 58-yard pass to a wide, freaking open Isaiah Sategna. Touchdown. Not chaos, guys. Not a prayer. He throws a strike. And in that moment right there, this season stopped being about hope. It became about reality. Because if you can throw that after throwing 3 interceptions, if you can stand tall in the pocket in that moment, you're not fragile. You are forged. And I'm not here to say to crown John Mateer as the next great quarterback from the University of Oklahoma. I'm not here to say put a trophy up or a statue up in Heisman Park. But look, 318 yards, 2 touchdowns with all the turbulence that we saw on the field on Saturday. That's a courageous performance. Because look, the biggest thing he threw Saturday night wasn't the ball. It was belief. And Isaiah Sategna saves the season for Oklahoma. By the way, 9 catches, 121 yards for Sategna. the 35-yard punt return, 7 touchdowns on the season, 900 yards over his last 10 games. I mean, like, the guy has been as advertised. I think we're going to come back to him later on in the next, the next segment. We'll come back to this. But when Oklahoma needed ignition, Sategna has been the guy to light the fuse. I mean, this guy's not just a receiver for the Sooner. He's the tone setter. He's that spark plug. He's a problem for your opponent. And Oklahoma's offense delivered that moment largely in part of 2 men. John Mateer not quitting on himself or quitting on this team, staying mentally aware, and Isaiah Sategna doing what he does, finding a way to get open. And the defense, they did what they do all season long. The defense guarded the mission here. I mean, look, Peyton Bowen had himself a day, right? He erased drives for LSU. You got the intercepted pass in the end zone. You got the breakup on LSU's final 4th down attempt. I mean, literally, he's not just making plays. He's out there ending LSU opportunities. Guys like Grayson Halton, pressure. I mean, the guy almost did a pick 6 with a fumble recovery because he took the pitch, got his giant paw on it, and almost had it. But he was the face of disruption all night. I mean, you're not just seeing effort from this defensive unit. You're seeing execution. Guys like Kendall Daniels, Owen Heineke, David Stone. LSU ran for just 85 yards in this game. That means this team, this defense, has held 8 opponents to 85 yards or less. This is a defensive unit guided by Brent Venables, I might add, that just takes your will. They don't just take your yardage. They take away your desire to be successful. And since we're mentioning the phases of the game, flawless execution again by special teams. Grayson Miller setting a school record. Tate Sandell making history as well. I mean, those are margins that Oklahoma used to lose in. Those are things that used to cost this team field position, points, and games. Now those are areas where they dominate. And if we do the zoom out here, you realize what this really was. It's not Oklahoma's their 4th straight win. I think it's the loudest one. This is a team that is 48-3 at home in the month of November since 1998. They're 89-0. This is great. This is a great stat. 89-0 when holding opponents under 21 points. The final home game, another win. Nope, not luck. This is culture that Brent Venables has been talking about returning to Norman. This is muscle memory now from this program. Sooners didn't just beat LSU, they broke LSU. They won this game because Oklahoma was built deeper, tougher, and really what Brent Venables has been doing the last 4 years is building this team for the month of December. And here's the truth. Right? No, I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you. They don't look like a contender in terms of playing for the national championship, but man, they sure feel like one. Think about this. Contenders don't need perfection. What do they need? They need posture. They need backbone. They need a response system. And Oklahoma has all of that. No, not polished, not pretty, not flashy, but this team is for real. And I think you go back to where we started this part of the podcast. Go back to Brent Venables. Not just a win for him, relief, right? This is validation. This was proof of concept. This is a man who never flinched in the face of criticism and doubt. This is a man who never changed his message from who he was. He was never panicked. He himself was built. And he used that, who he is, his character, his nature, slowly, deliberately to invest in this football team. And on Saturday, you saw what it looks like when the formation begins to finish. Oklahoma didn't survive. They defined who they are. Not a soft team, not a shaken team, not a small team. They are forged. And now they're not walking into December asking for permission to be in the playoffs. They're daring someone to come to Norman. They're daring someone to come to Norman and play them in the first round of the playoffs. That's Sooner football. Guys, it's back. Brent Venables has brought this team back from the ashes that Lincoln Riley left behind. And I'm here for it. I think you are as well.
Disney's Lilo & Stitch has finally landed on Disney+. Now you can watch the global phenomenon at home with your Ohana.
Be good for 1 second.
Lilo & Stitch is verified hot on Rotten Tomatoes with an audience score of 93%.
Perfect.
Stitch is also cute and fluffy.
Disney's Lilo & Stitch, rated PG, now streaming on Disney+. And right now, you can get Disney+, Hulu, and all of ESPN with an incredible limited-time offer. Terms apply.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, welcome back, man. What an amazing weekend it was. Thanksgiving weekend, Saturday football for the Sooners, just over the top. Oklahoma 10-2 on the regular season. Do me a favor. Let me just take a time out here on the podcast and say, if you're following us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever you get us, iHeartRadio, thank you. First of all, thank you for being a part of this journey with us. And do us a favor, hit a like, give us a good rating, give us a subscription. That helps us do what we love to do here at Heartland Sports. You can find us online, by the way, heartland-sports.com. Join our Facebook committee. We passed 16,000 followers on Facebook, trying to crank out digital content there as well. Thank you for making us who we are. So we're not just recapping the win over LSU here, really unpacking the season. Because, again, what happened Saturday in Norman, it wasn't just Oklahoma beating LSU. It was Oklahoma proving that it belongs back into this national conversation. This team's not lucky. This team's not a fluke. This team's not just riding a wave of momentum. What you're seeing is precision under pressure, right? And it happened after a year when Brent Venables is really under more scrutiny than any Oklahoma coach has been in a long time. I mean, I when you look at 6-7 in 2024, you've got to go back, I think, to John Blake to find that much pressure and that much scrutiny. The honeymoon's over, right? It is gone. There's no, this rebuilding cushion, gone. You either win or you're questioned. And Brent Venables, like we said, he took the fire. And let's not pretend like last season didn't hover over a lot of things this season. I mean, last season was creeping in the first half against LSU on Saturday. Because a losing year in Oklahoma, that's not just a footnote, that's a lightning strike, right? It is a loud noise. And the doubts were very real, and the doubts crept in all the way into game 12 of the 2025 season. And some of us, let's be honest, some of us are going to carry those doubts into the playoffs, even though Brent Venables has gotten this team back to that level of competition. And the conversations, they're absolutely not private. Like I said, there are receipts all over social media. I mean, I question, is he the guy? Is he a fit? Is this going to work? But like I said, man, you never saw anything waver with Brent Venables. You saw him task-oriented. You saw him knowing which way he wanted to go. You never publicly saw him waver. You never privately saw him waver, not with his staff, not with his players. He kept saying the same thing: culture, development, toughness, trust this building process. And Saturday, we got to see what that looks like, what this project looks like when it finally reaches its structural integrity, when it finally stops wobbling in the wind and becomes load-bearing. And just the fact that Oklahoma entered this game number 8 in the college football playoff rankings, that's a huge step forward from 2024 just on its own volition. Now you're talking about a team that's 10-2 on the season. You're talking about a team that's won 4 straight games. You're talking about a team that is rolling with momentum. And here's the dirty truth. It didn't feel comfortable. They hadn't outgained an opponent during this 4-game stretch until Saturday, right? Tennessee bullied the stat sheet. So did Alabama. Missouri controlled the time of possession, but yet Oklahoma, what did they do? They just kept winning. That really means one of two things. If you look at it, right, it means that either the Sooners are living on borrowed time or they're built for something different. And Saturday gave us that answer, right? Let's start where the game was won. Let's start on defense. Not in burst, not with just some splash, but with total control. LSU finishes with 198 total yards of offense. That's not an accident. That's not due to the weather. That's not just game flow with Oklahoma dominating time of possession. That is domination. The Tigers were 2 of 14 on third down, 85 total rushing yards. Michael Van Buren Jr. under siege all night. And LSU entered this game averaging nearly 345 yards of offense per game. And they left with fewer than 200. Guys, that's not a dip. That's a free fall. They had their thing, right? They had their own bit of chaos. They come to Norman with their own cloud. Brian Kelly fired, Lane Kiffin rumors swirling, interim staff, quarterback change, all of it inside the walls that once defined a program that wants to find stability within the SEC. So sure, the Tigers, they weren't just fighting Oklahoma. They were fighting their own uncertainty. But what Oklahoma did is they made sure that LSU stayed uncomfortable. Now, again, let's be honest. That first half was ugly, right? 3-3 at the halftime. You got interceptions. You got the short fields. You got missed chances. And at one point, you could feel, like we said, that tension, right? I even heard it. I heard it with the group I'm watching the game with. We're about to give this thing away. Especially when John Mateer is just throwing it to the other team. Then you got the 42-yard field goal. Took LSU 4 plays to score that. And then LSU's up 10-3 all of a sudden. And that's usually where, like we said, Oklahoma would have said last year, nope, we're done, we're out. But this isn't last year. They didn't win with pretty football. I'm going to say it again. They won with posture. And the momentum shift was that 45-yard touchdown pass. Well, really, it was a short pass and a 45-yard touchdown run. Can we put it that way? From Deion Burks. And there's life in the stadium. The defense stiffens. Even when you go down 13-10, you just kind of feel like it's about to happen. It's going to happen. And 4 minutes and change left, season in the balance. John Mateer, he does what he's done constantly at Oklahoma. He found a way to make the play. 58 yards, Isaiah Sategna. That's your moment, right? That's your momentum. That's not just a game changer. It's a season saver. And it was a statement, not about talent. And we get, I'm with you. Again, we get caught up in the talent level of quarterbacks, but there's more than arm talent. And I think Mateer will continue to develop. I do. I think he's going to continue to develop. But good night. Think about how bad this offense was. Think about the train wreck of Seth Luttrell. And yes, I'll be the first to say that fits squarely on the shoulders of Brent Venables. But still, the train wreck was there. You got the guys leaving. You got guys coming in that aren't up to par. It's not just a quarterback problem, is what I'm saying. You got running back problems. You got offensive line problems. You got receiver problems. You got tight end problems. Every unit on this offense is looking at a complete rebuild. And we're in the first year of Ben Arbuckle. And so to expect them to suddenly go back to year 2 of Dylan Gabriel, not going to happen. And I get that that's the expectation, but that's not the reality. But we can talk about John Mateer for just a second. 318 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yes. 3 interceptions. It was ugly, but it was also brilliant. It was unbreakable, right? That's quarterbacking when the light is the hottest. And when Oklahoma needed a heartbeat, he delivered. He delivered. And I told you it would come back to Isaiah Sategna. We're watching this guy become a star in real time. 9 catches, 121 yards, the 35-yard punt return, 155 all-purpose yards, 7 touchdowns on the season, almost 1,000 yards receiving. He didn't just play well. He delivered the momentum for this team. And he's the game breaker. Now you got to figure out who's going to replace him next year. But when have they consistently had a game breaker? How far back do we have to go? Peyton Bowen, end zone interception, 4th down breakup, game-ending suppression. Grayson Halton. I mean, all these guys, Kendall Daniels, Owen Heineke, they're flying around. David Stone didn't record a lot on the stat sheet. Didn't record a lot at all on the stat sheet, but lived in the backfield. So let's look at the historical context here, okay? 48-3 in the month of November for Oklahoma, 166 straight sellouts, 10 wins for just the 43rd time in program history. I said this earlier, 89-0 was holding their opponent to under 21 points. There's the identity. This game's not pretty, but it was dependable. And Oklahoma, they needed more than just fireworks because championships, again, not won on flash, they're won on control. And for the first time in years, Oklahoma didn't just survive, they dictated. So if you're an Oklahoma fan, yeah, it felt different out there because this wasn't just about hope, it was confirmation. Because not a bounce, you're seeing a build. And Brent Venables stood in the fire in 2024 like a man, and now his program just walked someone else into that same fire. This team, I don't think they're finished, but I think they are finished doubting, right? It's not like they were backed. If you ask them, it's not that they were backed because they'll say they never left. They were just being built up.
Introducing Oakley Meta Vanguard, the new performance AI glasses designed for athletes. With hands-free capture on an action-ready ultra-wide camera, powerful open-ear speakers, and built-in Meta AI that syncs with your Garmin devices for real-time insights while you train. Take your performance to the next level with Oakley Meta Vanguard. Athletic intelligence is here. Learn more on meta.com.
All right, Sooner Nation, I want to close out this episode by talking about something that might look a little bit comfortable when it's just there on the surface, but the reality is it's not. Oklahoma is still standing right where it has been for a few weeks now, number 8 in both the AP and the coaches poll. And I love the fact that they finished the regular season number 8 in the coaches poll when you consider that they weren't even ranked in the top 25 of the coaches poll to start the season. But here you are holding at number 8, not creeping up, not sliding back, just sitting there, just still. And that's exactly where some people say you just want to be, right? Steady, stable, safe. But Oklahoma at number 8, I don't think it's safety, all right? I think that's tension. I think there's some pressure there, and I think it's a consequence. because the highest ranked 2-loss team in America, it's not a compliment. It's more of a message the way I look at it. Now, look, the polls, they don't congratulate Oklahoma for going 10-2, but they did position them. Okay, so number 8 doesn't feel like applause. It really kind of feels like anticipation. To me, I look at this as if the voters are saying, hey, we know how dangerous you are, but we're not going to crown you. We're going to put you in a position where maybe you could be crowned, but we're not going to do that actual crowning. And honestly, that may be the most accurate ranking Oklahoma could have right now. Let me be clear with what I'm saying. If you're an Oklahoma fan and you're feeling frustrated that Oklahoma's not moved, I think you're missing out on what's actually happening, because number 8 is not neutral. It's uncomfortable by design. It's the number where expectations stack up against you, but it's also the seed that nobody wants to draw because there's no glory there, but it is dangerous. It's not a destination, but it is a warning label, and every coach in the top 7 sees that. Oklahoma, they didn't get to where they are by being polite. They didn't shuffle up the ladder with style points. They shoved and bullied their way into where they are right now. This resume, it's not built in September. It was forged in the month of November, an undefeated November, right? Road wins at Tennessee, road win at Alabama, finishing with Missouri and LSU at home. That is not a soft close to the season. This was pressure tested. And Oklahoma didn't finish against record-padding matchups. They finished against programs that usually kind of end other people's seasons. And yet somehow people say about Oklahoma, well, they win, but they don't dominate, right? They don't really just jump off the screen at you. They don't scare anyone. But let me tell you something. Scoring a lot of points doesn't make you dangerous. Control is what makes you dangerous. In Oklahoma, they control games. They don't beat you with fireworks. They beat you with oxygen deprivation. So yeah, it wasn't pretty against LSU, but it was suffocating. We've talked about the 3 interceptions for John Mateer. We talked about how the offense sputtered. We talked about how the margins tightened and how the game slowed. But yet Oklahoma didn't panic. They did not unravel. They hardened. And when that moment finally arrived, they delivered like a team that wasn't surprised. The 45-yard touchdown to Burks, the 58-yard touchdown to Sategna. Suddenly, there's no chaos. Suddenly, it was going to happen one way or the other. Oklahoma was winning this football game. Sooners did not escape LSU. They outlasted the Tigers. And in football, that difference matters more than anything. LSU, less than 200 yards of offense, 2 of 14 on third down, 85 rushing yards. That's not a game plan. That's putting a tiger in a cage. Bowen stealing possessions, the front 7 collapsing pockets, late stops, red zone denial. LSU wasn't beaten. They were erased on Saturday. So yeah, Oklahoma deserves to be at number 8. But here's the inconvenient truth. The polls, the AP and the coaches poll, they got it right. But they still missed the story because ranking Oklahoma 8 treats them like a number, not the threat that they are. Number 8 is where playoff chaos lives. Number 8 is where road teams have nightmares. If Oklahoma gets to host a playoff game in Norman, think about what that's going to look like. That building in December, it's not going to be football. It's going to be punishment. It's going to be cold. It's going to be loud. It's going to be unforgiving. No one wants to walk into that. Ask yourself this. Who actually wants Oklahoma in round 1? They're talking about Notre Dame. You think Notre Dame's excited about that? Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon? Not a chance. Anyone is ready to come to Norman and play this team because Oklahoma is the team that doesn't beat itself anymore. They don't blow it. They don't crack. They make the other teams blink. They did literally everything they needed to do to lose that game on Saturday, and yet they walk off the field 10-2. So look around the polls, right? Texas A&M, they fall. Texas barely climbed. Notre Dame, they didn't gain any ground. Alabama, yeah, they looked uncertain as well. Oklahoma didn't move, and that matters. Stability at the top in November is not luck. It means you survived when other people didn't. This isn't an Oklahoma team proving it belongs. They've already done that. This is an Oklahoma team sitting dangerously still. They are in waiting. People want to crown worthy teams, all right? And again, I'll be the first to stand in line and join with you. Oklahoma does not look like that yet. But problematic teams, dangerous teams, ones that ruin brackets, that's exactly what the Sooners look like. Number 8 doesn't mean you're finished. It means no one's ignoring you anymore. It means that you are unavoidable. It means that you are being circled. People are taking note. And I'll leave you with this. Oklahoma, yeah, they don't feel like a title favorite, but they feel like a nightmare that no one volunteered for. They feel like a team that punishes mistakes. They feel like a defense-first, January-style program. They feel like a group that doesn't need noise in order to operate. So call it respect, call it caution, call it restraint. Just don't say it's wrong. Don't say that they don't deserve to be there. Oklahoma at number 8, not at all an oversight. It is the most accurate warning label in all of college football. And the teams behind, yeah, they understand it. They get the message. So that's it. It's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Sooner Nation podcast. If you enjoyed the breakdown, give me a rate, give us a subscribe, share it. Hey, December's coming. December is coming. And I think Oklahoma, they have a good chance to deliver. And for the first time in a while, gang, we get to see the Sooners play meaningful football in the month of December. Enjoy your week, wherever it's taking you. Make sure it's a great one. We'll be back to talk to you later on.
I'm gonna be the man who's working hard.